Alright guys, so I've been getting a lot of requests lately for some advice on some Lord skills, so it's been quite a while since I've put together any kind of videos, so I figured we'd take a look today, pull up what I got going on. In no way am I saying mine is perfect, but it gives you guys a glimpse into my mind on how I put mine together. Maybe it can help you guys out. So right now I got 7 trees. That 8th tree comes open for VIP 35. I'm only VIP 34, so we'll work with what we got. So let's see. Tree 1, focus on research and construction. Tree 2, training and healing. Archer, cavalry, infantry. Rally leads only helps if you actually lead your team there. Preset for Alliance Deathmatch. Some people swap some of those out for monster hunting, the raid monster. Everybody's got a different setup for it, so I can really only show you what I got going on here. So when you look at research and construction, if you see, I did split it up from training and healing. Allows me to get farther into the tree specific to that goal. So research and construction. You'll notice as we go through these presets that there's a lot of points where I don't actually fill out the whole thing, like research speed 1 right over here in the beginning. It's only 5 out of 10. I save those skill points for something more important at the end. So when you look at this, adding 5 more points to it adds about 31% additional to what I already have. You fast forward farther into the tree. It gets me all the way to the end here, research speed 3. That 5 points gets me way farther here than it does in the beginning. So you got to look in the grand scheme of things where your points make the most sense for an immediate impact. Sometimes it's not about going in the beginning here. So like we said, research and construction here. You can kind of see, gear it towards things I actually build. I don't do traps. No point spending points there. Once again, skipping the traps. I don't really gather or collect from my farms, so I don't put too much focus into these. I just do the bare minimum it needs to progress further into the tree to get where I want, which is research speed over here. Construction speed. Pretty straightforward. You're looking for the 2 main things, research and construction there. Same idea with training and healing. I'll do bare minimum of a lot of things to get to where I need to. This puts more emphasis on training capacity and training cost, healing speed. You guys can pretty much figure it out, and just looking for, saving the points in the beginning to focus further on level 2 and level 3 tiles down the road. One thing you'll notice, I just kind of skipped by a little bit, but things like reinforcement capacity, I actually throw, since I have extra points laying around for this skill tree, into reinforcement capacity. And what that does for me is, if I'm playing a defensive role, I know I'm trying to take a rally, maybe screwing around a Blood Moon, I'll switch over to this tree, have my alliance mates reinforce me. So now I can fit 3 mil reinforcements. Once they get their troops in me, I switch back over to my actual defense preset with the higher stats, but it doesn't kick the troops out once I switch to a different tree, so it allows me to kind of house all those troops and then switch around. So little interesting idea there. When you look at my archer, cavalry, and infantry, they're all essentially the same setup, just focused on a particular single type. So that's great if you elect to solo. Not everybody needs a tree for each. Depends on your gear. If you don't have gear to support those, so you're never going to solo with it, it might not be a big deal for you. But for me, I have a max set of each, so it doesn't hurt to have it. But again, same concept we look at with the economy trees, skipping a lot of the early tiles, not finishing them off, just doing the bare minimum to get where it actually matters. A lot of people like focusing on the siege over here. I don't really use siege troops in any kind of offensive or defensive concept. They're basically, for me, just troop capacity, farming tiles faster, and collecting resources off of unshielded castles. Outside of that, I don't really pad any stats for them because I don't use them in battle. I don't focus too much on deployable troop size because nowadays in this game, most people don't really solo big castles that would make a big impact for. So you can see it adds, I'm missing out on 12,000 troops in my march. At 100% march capacity, that's 24,000 troops. That's not the difference between a win and a loss for me. It's all about rallies at this point. So, I want to be able to fit 5 people joining one of my rallies. No sense in taking up more space. Archer attack, defense, and HP, they're important, obviously. So this is going to be the path that I pick for this particular preset on Archer. But as you can see, I don't fill out those tiles. And once again, saving it further down the road, you'll see I focus on enemy cavalry debuff stats. So attack, defense, and HP you'll see down the tree. Archer attack, even still, I don't fill it out. I get 24%. I miss out on the other 36%. That's fine because once it gets me to Archer attack tier 3, that's 180%. And I'd much rather have the 180% than the 36% I'm missing out on. So you got to think about where your points, again, are going to give you the best return on your investment. Enemy cavalry leverage decrease. That's the big thing. It's all about leverage decrease, especially if you're a single type defense, double cav, double inf, or double archer. You want to make sure you lower as much of the leverage attack as you can so that they can't just counter your defense to the same scale as they could if you didn't do this. So every little bit counts. You can kind of see same things I'm talking about. Again, deployable troop size, I don't put as much as I could. That's another 50,000 right there, 100,000 if you consider march capacity. So yeah, that's a lot of troops. What that means is basically at my current size without VIP 35, my solos buffed march maybe about 1.8 million troops when they could be marching about 2 million troops when you consider all 3 of these deployable troop size tiles that I'm not finishing. Again, my march is big enough at 1.8 million where I can comfortably fight anyone much smaller than my size. Anyone near my size or bigger, I wouldn't solo anyways. That's where rallies come in. So I personally would rather use those additional points. That's 10 from deployable troop size 3 points I save by not finishing it, 5 from tier 2 and 5 from tier 1. So that's 20 points right there. It can get me farther into the tree in stats that would better help me attack or defensively. So when we look at it, here's the first tile that I'll actually finish near here. Archer attack 3, 180%. And then getting all the way to the very end. And that's, again, part 2 of the leverage debuff. Super, super important. I only had an extra 2 points, but that's my next goal, is getting that finished. So that's kind of where lower level, probably about 90 or so, is where you can finish off that tree. The higher you get, obviously, the more tiles you can finish off. It's basically a copy and paste of Archer, Cav, and Infantry. Same thing, just slightly different path, focusing on that particular troop type. Rally lead. Not everybody's going to need that. If you're a bigger player with nice stats, nice equipment, you might want to lead rallies with your team. For this, really your goal is to do the bare minimum of every single tile until you get to rally attack size. You fill up the tile, then keep doing the bare minimum until you get to rally attack size 2. Bare minimum until you get to rally attack size 3. It's all about the deployment size. Fill it up, then take a look at how many leftover points you have. Go back through and start filling in leftover points. So you'll see, go back through, and I look at padding some of my stats, focusing on tier 2 over tier 1 because I get a higher percentage, better bang for my buck with my Lord points. All about debuff of the leverage like we talked about earlier. It's pretty straightforward. Final tile, mine in particular, Alliance Deathmatch. Not exactly my most perfect preset, just a quick thing I put together. I actually spent a couple extra points on max AP and AP regen. That way I have at least one preset that I can, shield, set in as my active, and then go to bed and know that when I wake up I have 500 AP to spend on whatever I want to do, Monster Hunter, Chaotic. It's always good to have at least one preset that you get a full bar of AP on so you can leave it overnight on. And this one is an adequate defense that I can do it in and not have to worry if my shield drops, but it's not going to be the same for every kingdom. But the majority of this, again, outside of the AP, is focused on some basic stats. I'm not going to be able to get as far into the tree as I can because I don't focus on one particular troop type like I did in the other presets. This is trying to cover as many troop types as I can because ADM, of course you have all 4 troop types. So put a little bit in, but I'm mostly doing minimums to get at least to the level 2 in the tree. That's kind of where I blow all the points, getting to that leverage decrease for all 3 troop types. Get a little bit left over for troop attack, debuff, and defense. But that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. You'll see, if you're considering things like, putting your points into tile 1 or tile 2 of things like economy mode here, you'll see big difference. Maybe research speed 1. Take that for example. Like I showed you before, it's about 31% I'm missing out on. In the grand scheme of things, does it matter too much? Probably not. You can look at castle stats while it's equipped. Research speed, I'm already getting basically 2,500% speed increase. Construction, about 2,200%. So it's 30% on top of 2,468. I'm not going to probably see much of a difference, but some smaller players that don't have the research gear and the research done to improve that might be a bigger impact. So you'll have to kind of decide on your own, but give you guys a little glimpse on some presets here.